to the cash when she walk. She look like a bad when she walk. She get to the cash when she walk. She look like a bad when she walk. Girl, do it, do it, do it, do it.
What's going on, everyone? It's King Tuts Pro. Welcome back to another Final Cut Pro 10 tutorial. In today's video, I'm going to show you 10 amazing presets that will literally make you speechless. So if you guys do like this type of content, and if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. I do post videos just like this and many others on my YouTube channel. So if you guys could hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on the bell notification so you don't miss out on a video like this one, that would be much appreciated. With that being said, let's jump into the tutorial. Alright, so we're going to be working with these clips here. There's just 10 clips, really quick and short scenes from the original music video called Cabo by Bankrol Hayden. This one's a new release, so it's a really cool music video, and I absolutely love the cinematography. Link in the description. So to access the pack, you're going to go into the effects down over in the right, and you're going to go to Badass Effects 4. Now here you have 21 items in this specific pack. Now if you go into transitions, again, you're going to go to Badass Transition 4, and you'll have 8 items there. Now if you go over to the left, under the titles, you're going to have badass titles here. And the first one here we're going to be applying is that really cool border effect. So if you head on over to the effects over here, you're going to go to Badass Effects 4, and you're going to go to the badass border. Now this one's really cool because I've seen this a lot in a lot of videos actually, where they have this really cool border effect. And this is the way to create it. Of course, you can, do it another way. However, this is the quickest way to do it. Then you're going to go under the roundness, and here you can adjust the corners, the radius of how round those edges are. We can crop this to the left all the way, or crop this as small as you want and adjust the roundness if you want. You can do something like that. I'm going to reset that one now, and I'm going to go about kind of almost like a square. So I'm going to kind of make this a little bit like that maybe. And then scale, you can also scale this up and down. So this will control the video. If you want to scale this video up, you can do so. And you can also control the position of the video, which is really cool actually. And now we have rotation. Again, this will allow you to rotate the video. So you can do something like this, and then you can increase the scale so you can hide those edges. And you also have a bunch of keyframe buttons here to really customize this effect. If we drag an adjustment layer above our video or image, if I cut this and delete this here, you're going to see the adjustment layer. So if we go over to the badass border and we drag that onto the adjustment layer, it will act the same thing. However, the difference being that you can actually move this without having to move or cut the video. So once we have that, we also want to add a kind of a 8mm overlay effect. And this one's built into Final Cut Pro. So just go to Stylize, go to the very bottom and go to Super 8mm, drag that onto your clip, and it will create some really cool kind of this vintage look. And if we go over to the SLR effect, which also comes with Final Cut Pro, we're going to drag that onto our video. And if we go to the SLR, we have amount. So you can decrease the amount or increase this. What we're going to do is increase this to maybe 20 or so, 25. And then defocus is pretty much how blurry you want this to defocus. So I'm just going to leave this at 0. And then gate is this outer ring thing. So if you don't want it, just disable it. So now if I push play, we have this super cool effect here. And it's really cool. Again, you have keyframes here if you want to really customize this. Let's move on to the next effect. So this next effect is really cool. Again, you're going to go into the effects. So haze cloud. So I'm going to drag that above our video. And you can also combine these with other effects. So if we were to drag the haze over this, it will look something like this. Super clean and a very interesting look here. And you also have on-screen controls. So what this will do is if you go and select the outer ring, this will either make this bigger of a radius. So outside of this ring will kind of make a feather. So wherever you drag this is where it's not going to be affected pretty much. So we're going to make this smaller. I think that will look kind of cool like this. So you can increase the brightness, you can decrease it. So if I bring this down to the glow and I add a keyframe and I go about here and I increase the glow, if I push play, you can see it will kind of intensify like that. You can change the color of this haze. So you can do kind of match that same color of that video, so you can do more of a yellow tone. If we go back to the clouds effect, again, we can change the look on this one. So we can increase the brightness for the clouds, increase or decrease the cloud size. You can then change the cloud speed. So if we increase it, this will make it go a lot faster, as you can see. So in order to add this one, it's ideal that you guys actually add the adjustment layer. Go over to the titles and generators. We're going to go down to the badass titles. And in the badass titles, we're going to select the adjustment layer. So select the adjustment layer, bring it down in your timeline, and then we're going to trim this down or split this clip and delete the rest. I'm going to add the reflection first. So we're going to drag that onto the adjustment layer. And now you can see it applies it to the adjustment layer only and not the actual video clip. Click and drag and move this to wherever you want. You go to the reflection tab. You're going to have all of these settings that you can change. So you can change the amount You can change the rotation of the reflection here. So we're gonna click and drag the kaleidoscope on top of the adjustment layer. And now if I go back and push play, it'll look something like this. And click and move these little rainbow artifacts on your video, and you'll have 2 of them. So you can position wherever you think would look the best. The amount will change the amount of kaleidoscope there is. We have blend flop. What this will do is if you drag the slider to the right, it'll flip it vertically. And I think this one looks super cool, so I'm gonna leave it there. So what I wanna do with the scale is I want this to start this off kind of big and then kind of come down. So I'm gonna start this off around here. I'm gonna add a keyframe. I'm gonna go about 4 frames to the right. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm gonna bring this all the way to 0. So I'm gonna push play. It'll look just like that. And you can also see what it will look like before. As you can see, you can do something very clean and simple like that. Now this one's really subtle and it's really cool that you guys can do to any type of video. And what a grain will do is it will pretty much make it a bit more vintage, a bit more stylized, and kind of make it a little bit more realistic, if that makes sense. So if we go down to the cinematic noise and we add that onto that video and then push play, you're gonna see there's very subtle noise. So if we're to increase this to 100, you can definitely see what's going on here. So cinematic noise can really spice up your video. It's very subtle of an effect. So here we have monochrome. This will make it black and white or black and gray. Blend mode is pretty much the blend mode. So if you want it to be very subtle, you can change the blend mode, or you can do screen and do something like that. I'm gonna go back to normal. I think normal looks the best. Now with that one applied, I also want to add a really cool light reverb effect. This would be kind of cool. So if I were to drag this onto this clip here and we increase the amount, you can do something like this. If I push play, it looks something like this. So there's going to be the 5th effect. If we drag the badass star on this clip, it will look something like this. What I want to do is I want it to kind of apply it to his glasses. So something like this. Increase the radius, drag it over his glasses. And here we have affected area. So you can increase this a lot to do something like this. We have color 1, so you can change the color of this. So we can do, this will change the overall color, it looks like. So yeah, that looks super cool. So the 6th effect here is going to be this really cool panning transition. So for that one, we're going to go to move by and we're going to drag that onto our video. This will apply it to the entire video, just letting you know. In this case, we want to use an adjustment layer. So we're going to drag the adjustment layer. I want this to start at the beginning and I want it to end about halfway. Drag the move by custom speed here on top of this adjustment layer. So now when I go back and I push play, it will stop right in the middle here, as you can see, super clean. Now, to make this more interesting, we're going to go to the blur. We're going to go to directional blur, and we're going to add that onto our layer here. And we're going to type in 270 for the angle, so it's kind of pointing downwards. And we're going to increase the blur, so when I push play, it'll look like it's actually moving. So we're going to do 55. We're going to add a keyframe. We're going to go about here until it ends, and we're going to type in 0. So when I push play, it'll look just like that. It's very subtle, or you can go about 1 frame to the left. So 1 frame from the end. You can add a keyframe and go 1 frame over and type in 0. So when I push play, it'll look a little bit better. We're going to disable the move by custom speed here and the directional blur. We're going to go to badass crop. And we're going to add this on top of our video. And now if we select it and we increase the crop, you're going to see we can create a complete letterbox effect, which is super cool because you can really get that precise look that you want without having to adjust too many settings and controls. All right, so the 7th effect is going to be a really cool split screen effect. So we're going to go into the Badass Effects 4. We're going to go to Badass Split here, and we're going to drag that onto our clip. And you're going to see now it adds a drop zone. So this is where you can add an image, a picture, right, or a video. So in order to add a video, what you want to do is go into your timeline. You're going to have a video clip, right? Just make sure it's longer than the original and that there's no actual cutscenes in between. So what you would do is say this is like, say it's longer than this clip here. You would right click on that video. You would create a compound clip. Once you create a compound clip, you're going to go and select the video here, and you're just going to click on the drop zone. You're going to go to the project window where you can find the video clips, and you're going to select the groups clip that you just made. And in this case, I already made one. I just named it men. If I click apply clip, you're going to see now if I push play, it will create this super cool, video here. Now here, you can actually adjust where this is positioned on screen, and you can also rotate this. So this is super cool. So here you can adjust the scale, and you can move this to the left. Say this is being cut off like this. All you gotta do is select this inner circle and drag it over to the right. So something like that would be really cool. Again, you have settings for all of this right in the video inspector here. Push play, you have this super cool split screen effect. So this 8th effect is going to be one of my favorite ones, and this is going to be the microscope effect. Ideally, you want to use the adjustment layer for this one, so I'm going to drag this above our media. So I want the adjustment layer to be the total length of this bottom clip here. I'm going to add the microscope onto the adjustment layer, and I'm going to select the layer, and now if I push play, it's going to look something like this. We can make another copy, so hold Option, drag upwards, move it over to, say, over here, and trim it. When we push play, it'll look like they're going under 2 different microscopes, which is super cool. And then for the second one, if we go onto, like, say here, and we go into the parameters of under movement, you can increase its speed as well as the animation speed here. So if I push play, it'll go in by a lot quicker. Prism, this will of course create a RGB split effect. Zoom amount, this is the most important. We want this to zoom in a little bit, so it's a bit more than the first one. We can get really creative with this one. For the second one, we want to decrease the lens dirt opacity so it's not so harsh. So that's pretty much this here. Let's move on to the 9th effect. So the 9th effect is going to be a glass effect. And this one's really cool because it creates almost like a refraction effect. So go here, we have glass 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So we have 5 different kind of looks that we can apply. So if I push play, it'll look something like this. Or we can do maybe number 2. I think my favorite one is number 5. I think that one looks pretty cool. And again, you can adjust where this is positioned. So our antagonist is this guy here. So we want to focus on this guy. And again, you have all these settings. So we can increase the scale, and change the prism look, the brightness, and change the hue. You can do glass orientation. You can do both, or you can do vertical or horizontal. So this last effect from this really cool pack, it's not really the last one. I mean, there's so many in here that you can do, but these are my personal top 10. And that's going to be pretty much the transition. So if you head on over to the transitions, you're going to go to Badass Transition 4. So we have 8 different ones. So we have a light leak here. So if I were to drag this here and push play, you can do something like that. We have light leak 2. And we have of course, the swish transition. So if we drag this over here, adjust the length and push play, you can do something like that. You can do this one, which is a short swish. Really, really cool effect. We have swish up, adjust its length, push play. So I'm going to do swish down for this one, and it looks just like that. So with all those effects applied, if we push play from the beginning, you can create really interesting and mind-blowing effects with this really cool preset / pack. And again, feel free to try it out. Link is in the description. Subscribe to Arthur Moore on his YouTube channel. He posts amazing videos on there as well. If you liked this video, consider subscribing and turning on the bell notification, and leave a like as well. So I'll catch you on my next video.